There we go. Okay, sick. So, Sabre, we are going to take a look today at... Let me bring up the specific things you wanted to take a look at. It was getting a game plan, disadvantage state, and defensive tech, along with the Ness matchup. Shout out to Astastic.
Yep. I mean, he's a big reason why. So, in general, as a player, I just think that there's a lot of systemic things I lack. There's just fundamental problems I have that I feel like I've coasted on in the process of playing the game, and I want to address them as soon as possible. And Ness is honestly, even though it's a matchup I've played probably the most in and out of bracket within the past year, it's a really good example of how like I fail in so many of those areas, like just proper defensive options, utilizing good SDI, just missed text on so many different things, just basic stuff that kind of all adds up into actual like significant problems in bracket, and I really haven't nipped them in the bud, and I'd like to do that. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Ness is definitely one of those characters where, like, if you miss a tech and then you realize you missed the tech, like, a little too late and get distracted by that, you're already missing two more techs, and it just snowballs really fast.
mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and start. Like I was telling you a minute ago, I'm not a Ness main, so this is going to look a little janky at the best of times. Ooh, nice.
Thanks.
I always forget Kirby F throw is so important.
Oh, so important. It's honestly, I feel like it's definitely the biggest, like tangible change to the character. That's been a big impact.
Nice. So your edge guarding seems pretty solid. Oh, the sick land. Hell yeah. No. I got it. This was some kind of trap. Trap to get me forced stocked to my own stream.
No, no, no. Like so, yeah. So Hakeem, aka Tastic, who is like, for all intents and purposes, like my practice partner, at least over the course of quarantine. You know, we played this matchup a lot, and I also got to play against Kumatora quite a bit. To what extent, like I know this matchup is from experience, you know, I could say a decent amount, but this, regardless of that, I still feel like this matchup is so perfect for addressing just basic stuff. Like, for example, I'll fight him and can't get in because I don't, you know, right there, like I feel like if I had CC'd in and then like STI'd a little bit more to the left, I could have gotten the grab. But like playing neutral against this character for me is so hard because I can't get in, and it really brings out a lot of my bad habits, like leaving the ground preemptively, doing unsafe stuff on shield.
I think it's also hard to get on Ness if you don't have good like anti-air options.
Yeah,
Like a lot of Kirby's stuff is like, I mean, you have Bear, and Fair being 3 hits kind of hurts him. Up tilt is great, but you need to be back turned for both of those.
yeah. Also, I don't really know how to deal with the down tilt that he has. It's very strange. I try to like SDI in a way to get me out of it, but it usually feels like you can hit a couple of those and grab. But I attribute this matchup in some like a weird way, kind of similar to Mewtwo, just the way I have to go about it. But I just haven't locked down how to like properly punish him in some ways. Like he'll do DJC back air, and then I'll go to like punish it, and he'll just spot dodge. And I'm like, am I timing things wrong? Is there something I could just be doing better? Should I be spot dodging? You know. And it kind of reminds me of dealing with Mewtwo in that, like, I have to find a way in while dealing with really volatile options that I have to sort of play around instead of directly interact with.
Yeah, because the numbers on trying to intercept DJC Bear are not in your favor for pretty much most of the cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it just means, like, what do I do? Do I disengage? Like, is this pressure I have to reset neutral with? What do I respect and not respect? And what options do I have to use? So.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering also, even if you don't get the direct punish, or you don't want to call out a specific defensive option like roll versus spot dodge, you can still get pressure out of shield versus DJC Bear if they're going to defend themselves like that. Mm. So even if you don't get a guaranteed shield grab or something, the fact that they need to spot dodge can be powerful because that becomes a RPS kind of in your favor at that point, where they're taking an option to avoid what you might do. All right, let's keep going. I forgot DJC Bear existed. It's been a minute since I played Ness. I was trying really hard.
That's an option. Wow.
No, that's just me being bad.
Oh, but it worked.
That was supposed to be CC spot dodge. Oh boy.
Try to use more CC options. Like, I get it can be hard because he can mix up like down air or just like a move that's going to break my CC. So I really think the moves that I should be able to CC that I don't is just strictly timing. I just got raw grab.
Oh, almost. Oh boy. But yeah, you do have different varying levels of options. Like the grab range is really nice.
Yeah.
So it's not, like, for example, it's not necessarily the answer to something by itself, but it does make that answer a little more consistent.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, the Ness players are really good. So, like, I have to humble myself and be like, it's not also, like, just these options that are potent. It's like I'm being conditioned in a way that makes me think like I don't have these answers, or just the answers I'm picking are being picked apart. There we go.
Yeah.
But that, like, God, I mean, at a lower percent, I guess Ness could have just CC'd that and punished me, so...
Yeah, okay, we got those today.
I actually, I think part of it too is I mess up the actual, the input for just like acting on a CC and do a grab and just like pull out a jab by accident. Is that a timing thing or?
Somewhat. It can be a timing thing. If you want to do CC grab better, you can try to run first, or you can just jump cancel it. Or you can just hold shield and mash A out of CC. Like, you might get shield grab, that's maybe a frame or two off, but it's easier than jump canceling, because if you do that slow, you get nair.
So it's a little bit slower. Or is it the same?
You can shield grab by frame 2, so it's very minorly slower. It's mainly just so that way you don't get the like the hop nair if you don't want it.
Gotcha.
And the running nair is important for some characters that are have lower friction. Because if you just CC grab, then you still slide away from the hit. But if you run forward, you kill some of that momentum and you get closer.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll EX fire on purpose eventually. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, no. This was not a kindness. This was...
It was supposed to be that weird angle of up air that I can do.
Oh, the tip man?
Yeah, like the reverse tip man that just sends forward.
Oh, I think I've seen that, yeah. Oh, I got it.
If it helps too, playing Mewtwo, just call out like my general bad habits. At some point too would also be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll probably do one or two more with Ness, just because you, especially with how practiced you are against Ness, there are just things that I'm missing that you're tearing apart, which is great. Like, you're doing a really good job converting off the F throws, and just like I can't lock you down with magnet pressure because I'm bad at it. So it's like a weird input too. Like, shine pressure is at least like fast and consistent. Magnet being frame 8 makes it very strange. Oh, that's right. That move is bonkers big.
Rough.
What? All that time? We did it.
Yeah, you did. Alright, now I should be able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Ness covers a lot of angles that are just kind of weird. I'm so sad.
Yeah, I like sometimes covering that fair from ledge. I know I have the tools to do it, but I just mess it up. That dash attack, did I go into knockdown because I like mistimed? Like I got interrupted during my CC option?
Partially. That CC option like becomes ASDI down, which is weaker. Yeah. So what you...
Try to do a thing.
I did it. So what you can do sometimes is just try to CC, like crouch CC all 3 hits, and then from there, just go into whatever you think your best punish is. But sometimes you gotta be patient.
What?
I don't know, man.
Did you hear the voice clip like duplicate?
Yeah. No, not the platform.
Yeah, just barely.
Disgusting. How dare you have an up there that kills floaties?
Hey, wait a minute.
One of my favorite bits is gaslighting like characters that are worse than Mewtwo, aka the rest of the cast, into like thinking that they shouldn't have those tools that Mewtwo already does.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, that down tilt's a combo starter. That's not fair.
It's funny because I was playing with Silver the other day, and he's been playing a lot of Mewtwo, and we were thinking how funny it was about like how the late game neutral was just us fishing for a grab.
Yeah.
And just both up throwing each other, especially on Stadium.
I play SSK sometimes, and it is he's really good at that matchup. First off, that dude's great. But it's a very strange high percent neutral where like both characters have equal threat. Okay, Mewtwo is not ready for usually.
Yeah, he's a homie, and that matchup is definitely is interesting. But
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny because it's just both the same exact kill throw, it's the same presents almost.
Yep. Gosh, what a bad kill throw. They nerfed Mewtwo so hard it's as bad as Kirby's now.
I can't tell if they're about the same or just because Kirby's lighter that his kill's a bit earlier, but
yeah, Kirby weight is weight is very minor for vertical knockback, but it does make a small difference. It's mainly the floatiness, which I don't actually know which of the. I'm assuming Kirby's a little floatier.
Yeah, he's like the second lightest, and his fall speed is pretty slow.
Like it's so much of an extreme that I don't like. It's not a huge deal, but it's just like they're both really floaty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you had mentioned that like getting stuck against DJC Bear was a problem. I think something
to whiff punish basic stuff, you know.
Well, that's hard to whiff punish because sticking your foot into that is really, really scary.
Yeah.
So what you can do instead is like a safer alternative. Let's say you think I'm going to bear like right where you are now. You think I'm going to bear here. You could either like short hop or full hop or like wave dash back. And then that's the pressure as you come back in where I've just done my aerial. I've either got to commit to shield, defensive option like spot dodge roll. Dash away sometimes can be useful, but that's all universal stuff. Yeah. So like Ness doesn't have Ike Bear. He doesn't have like DK up B out of shield. So all of his defensive options are pretty much universal. Like shield grab, nair. DJC nair can make that reward a little different, but like it's the same basic thing.
Yeah, I know a lot of the time too, part of the whiff punish could just be because I go in thinking I can get it, and then he spot dodges immediately. So I know waiting that extra second or just disengaging even would probably yield me more than just assuming I can get it.
You don't have to punish everything like to get the guaranteed punish on everything. Because especially depending on how variable this bear can be, that's hard. Like it's not like so bad on shield that like you can wave dash out and confirm something. So sometimes you got to just go like, oh, bear missed. I'm gonna go right on top of Ness because this is funky for Ness. If Ness doesn't have shield grab, that becomes nair, which isn't great behind him. Dare, which is again not really that great behind him. So he has all these like universal defensive options, and that's about it.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then those you can punish. Those are basically when you're pressuring someone in shield and you think that they're going to roll or spot dodge, you can just cash in the card, like that all your pressure is getting you, right? So if you think that when I land from the short hop, I'm going to roll to the right, I'm really good at this video game. You can just run to the right. And if I don't do that, you're fine. Like even if you press a button, you're fine. So every time you get someone in shield, they have to get out of shield because if they don't, they die. Which sounds really obvious, but like there needs to be an exit strategy of some kind every time someone presses shield. And there are times where you have to shield. Like, you know, maybe, oh, I smashed by accident. Oh shit, shield. You know, and that all takes place very quickly and very frequently. Mm-hmm. So punishing those exit strategies is really, really important. That's how you get all that. Like, that's how Ness works. Like, you know, you have Magnet. Like, he's not going to... Like, the grabs are threatening, too. But for the most part, a lot of the bigger starters, like down air, back air kill moves, those are on you avoiding grab.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, it's just crazy to me how much I have to respect his pressure sometimes. It's something I have to adapt to. Almost like a spacey in some ways. Not nearly as potent, but that's just kind of the picture I get where I'm like, I cannot immediately punish this. I need to disengage. But sometimes I'm not sure if that's actually true and just me being slow on the draw. So
sometimes that is just true with Ness, even though he's not a spacey. Like DJC Bear, if you're front facing, when you shield DJC Bear, then you
shield it, but yeah.
Or yeah, you're good. You can't really like. You can't shield... Well, you might shield grab this one, but usually you can't shield grab it you can't fair it out of shield. So sometimes you got to just like hold it. Ness can still move first because you have to wave dash, drop shield, well, you know, jump, something like that. So, and when you're jumping at him and don't have access to bear, that's not like the best position either.
Yeah.
Like even Ness normals can kind of like contest your fair. So sometimes you got to just hold this, especially if they're doing it in a really safe way, or like the classic DJC backwards fair. So like if you don't move, oops, like you can't get through this directly.
It's a Kirby length.
It's more than one Kirby length.
Yeah.
So if someone's doing this, you either have to call it out by pressuring them afterwards. So like if you're familiar with boxing, a lot of the time shorter boxers will need to wait for the taller boxer to like miss a jab and then they slip in as they retract their arm. It's the same concept here.
Yeah.
Ness, you know, does fair or nair or bear, or Marth swings with his fair, or any number of characters that have more range than Kirby, which is a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Your opportunity is to dash in as they miss, and not to get a guaranteed punish necessarily, but, oh, if you're right here dashing, and I'm only good at end like now, this is one of the situations where I gotta guess. I gotta start defending myself actively.
Yeah.
And all you've done is dash.
It kind of, maybe part of my confusion is that it seems like Ness has some variability in like where his effective range is compared to some other characters. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Zelda, and I know exactly where I want to be against Zelda and where I don't want to be. With Ness, I understand that can change on the fly and I have to adapt accordingly. If I'm right in a shield, I've got to worry about getting down aired. And I suppose you're probably right about like positioning myself to see where he doesn't have the options to immediately answer or force him on the defense.
Right. Additionally, a lot of the times, how do Ness players do this funky input? Ness has to be back facing to get his really, really strong kill moves. Like he can get nair, which is fine, and fair will tumble, which can lead to stuff. But for like the really strong ones, back air being not even strong one, just for back air, which is the big shield threat too, because there's so much damage, he needs to be back facing, which makes it harder. Like he has to get a little lower with magnet. Oops. Because when he DJCs, if he doesn't do it very quickly, he rises, which then makes the back air on shield like one less likely to actually sweet spot, but also like this is a problem. If he accidentally does like this. Mm-hmm. That's a big opening. Not even to directly punish, but like, if he's got a land, he has dare once per airtime, more or less at that height. And you can come in, your nairs are, you can come in with combo moves to like keep him up in the air. Like your neutral air is great for that. Your up air can be really good for that. Yeah, like all they got there is mashing, like basically mashing aerials because they don't have jump and why not? Mashing aerials or mashing spot dodge. Or preemptively SDIing, but like that's deciding you're going to get hit and then moving on from there. How do they mash? How do they mash that fast? Good lord. Pikachu and Ness players, I don't understand, man.
Which way should I be SDIing
that? So you have a really good shield grab, so good news for you. If you I think you have the range to grab that. I think you have the range to grab that. I might be wrong.
Okay. I have to kind of shield DI away.
Or what you can do is you can just try holding down. Okay, I guess you don't get far enough away there. What you can do, you can just DI away and reset. It's the same thing as like any rapid jab. It's just it's by itself, and then the confirm is if they. Let me back up. It's a rapid jab by itself, but by the time it tumbles, they'll be looking to confirm off it, so they'll only be doing one. Because if you have to fall into this twice, you're probably DIing the second one away.
Yeah.
So you'll see like Kumatora. I'm sure Asastic does it as well, where they'll get you at super high %, and then they'll do the single one. The single down tilt into confirm. Oops.
Yeah, the single one makes sense. I guess I get frustrated when I get caught in the several, like it's the chain of them, and I understand. So it's just I just have to simply try to DI out.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing as like if you do your rapid jab, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to just like get away from it before you can deal with it.
Okay.
Similarly, if you like if they're really just like mashing down tilt, just SDI like DI out and then forward smash them. That is a much greater than 9% difference, so you can just beat that entirely.
True.
Or you can just, like, in the same kind of vein, you can just DI away and then pressure them by, like, short hopping over it. You know, you get drill over this. Or yeah, short hop past them. And that's scary. Because bear is really good. All right, let's do a match.
Okay.
Ooh. Nice, I think that's it. Yeah. That land gets me. Yeah, so you're out of that range now.
That was a reach.
No! What a move.
Yeah.
I'm not used to shield grabbing it because Mewtwo can't.
No?
No. Just it turns out he's a little too tall for his own good.
Ah. There we go. God.
Yep, just that CC shield just a really good answer. Ooh.
I was hoping just the refresh with the cutter was going to hit you, but you got in between the hitbox just barely.
We're living. You're right. Okay. Yeah, I think like you definitely have like a plan when it comes to edge guarding Ness, which I think is really, really important because that's where he dies.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward, I think. You know, like just rinse and repeat. Or if I can, like as long as I don't overextend, I can just outright kill him when he's targeting the up B.
Yeah.
But yeah. Not taking advantage of it is a huge problem for sure.
So I want to kind of play around a little bit more with the topic of like things you can't punish, but you'll have to pressure instead. Because defensively, you'll have to be in that position too. Kirby back air is one of those moves that's really hard to get around for some characters, but you can still kind of get run down when you use it and in predictable ways.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can't do that on both ends. Oh no. I just built an iota of Ness muscle memory, and it's already a bad thing.
Wrong double jump character.
I had that grab range. Oh, no. There we go.
Whoa.
Character's good. Let's go. Let me out. Not like this. I want a refund. I want a refund on this video game. Go back to GameStop, get my money back.
Oh wow.
Nice. No.
What's it? Mewtwo down tilt is something I have a problem getting around. Oftentimes because I try to act right after I get hit with the first one, and the action I pick is slower than the second down tilt. So I'm wondering probably what my best options are, and I'm sure that would depend on how far away I am when I get hit.
Okay. So this applies to other moves too, but for Mewtwo down tilt, because he has so much friction, or so little friction, if you shield grab it within shield grab range, it's completely punishable. It's at least -7.
Okay. That's if I miss it, it's basically on me.
I believe so. I can double check that for you later. But basically, if you run up shield and he as he approaches with it, then that's if you throw off his spacing rather, then it's very bad if too close. On shield, on hit it's obviously great, right? It's one of those moves.
Can I CC grab it?
If you're within range, then yeah. It's not quite as strong as you might expect. It is a little stale now, fair, but it'll be ASDI down much earlier than this as well.
But if I'm getting hit by the properly spaced one, like how far away? What is the max distance? Okay, and from there I definitely can't shield grab it.
Yep, that's also the percent. The higher percent you are, the more they're going to space for the absolute tip. Like it's usually a good idea to space for the tip in general, but this actively stops confirming when you're at really high percent for the base hit. So that is something that they're going to change their, kind of like some Ness options, right? Once you're out of down throw confirm range, they're going to stop grabbing as much at least.
Yeah, see right there is an example. I messed up my grab and did a down tilt. So I'm wondering if this means I'm not. And that was me trying to use jump cancel grab.
Huh. Oh, that jab reset. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely just me not timing I guess
Let's see.
it's easier for me to shield grab out of that.
Yeah, you can't get momentum with shield grab, but it does guarantee you don't get like an attack.
True. Can you hit me with it one more time?
I was mashing down tilt there. At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something you can do against. It's not really applicable. That's how you say that word to Ness, because his down tilt doesn't have this problem of like only being one down tilt. But for characters with really strong options, this makes staying on the ground better against them. Yep, that was a punish. I was buffering spot dodge. Even that down tilt was a punish, actually.
You know, I wonder if I'm buffering like. Huh. Okay.
So that's something you can kind of do. I don't have an easy way for you to practice that in training mode. What you can do is the Fox and Falco AIs they really like early short hop bear when you're close to them. Mm-hmm. So as they drift into you, it'll become soft bear, something you can CC. And that's also good practice for like, oh, I know Mewtwo is only using down tilt. I know that like this player is going to use DJC bear. How do I pressure or punish them for doing it if I know where they're going to end up, but it's hard to contest? Pivots are hard.
Play with tap them off, so it does help.
Me too.
I had to drill it into me though for sure. And then also like I'd like to get better with pivot F tilt because it's just so much. And even when I do get it, mine's angled up. At a certain point, I always think like, for what I use it for, I could just wave dash back.
I mean, it's much faster getting a hitbox out with pivot F tilt, and you're short enough to where angling up isn't a problem usually. Okay, let's keep playing for a little bit, I think.
Sure.
Oh no, that's the back 30i. Okay, if that killed 89, that would have been a war crime.
Yeah.
As soon as it throw, I'm like, wait, please tell me this doesn't kill. No. No, F throw confirmed. That's all I ask. It's fine. It's not F throw. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a little tricky trying to figure that out. No SSK. Just been trying to lab out more stuff to do with it.
I'm a moron. Okay. It seems it's pretty hard to pin you down with those kinds of moves, like Ness DJC Bear, Mewtwo HC Fair. You're doing a good job staying grounded enough to get your horizontal speed. Because when you jump, you lose all of that.
Yeah, I have a huge problem. I've been trying to make more of an emphasis on just more grounded play, and part of that too, because my worst habit is either holding shield too long or just doing a panic aerial when I get pressured, both of which are very bad. And a lot of the times I try to do some air-to-air stuff that just won't work, like as opposed to like just dash dancing and waiting to read or react to a Ness, like leaving the ground and catching them in the startup affair. I will like meet them in the air and attempt to joust, which is bad. Or like Ness will be pressuring my shield with like DJC down air or something. I'll try to just like nair at a shield, and maybe I'll hit it, but he'll just like CC and then like punish me.
Yeah,
Stuff like that, you know.
A lot of the times you got to like train your brain to realize that just getting out of the situation is a neutral win, or that's not a neutral win, but getting back to neutral is a win rather. Like against Spaceys, it's a lot easier to conceptualize that because they're so clearly like good at pressuring and can die off the wrong interaction. But against less extreme characters like Ness or even Lucas or Falcon, it's you got to like actively tell yourself and remind yourself that nope, getting away from Ness is good. That's you don't have to counterattack every time you're in shield. Like there's a time and a place, and the more you mix it up by also just rolling or like escaping, the more effective the times you choose to counterattack will be, because they might not be CCing your nair, they'll be trying to catch a roll that isn't there.
How do you think I should go about threatening space or poking with this character?
I think the classic back airs are always nice.
Sure.
Like they're just high reward, hard to interrupt. No. I played Devin enough to like know what's about to happen, but not enough to like really have it down pat and how to get out of it.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm pleased that this connection is so consistent. Like I can do a buffer like just for net play purposes. So
Yeah.
I know he's relatively. I know he's also in Texas, right?
He's in. I think he's still in Houston.
Cool.
Yeah, he's within like 2 hours.
Playing with him too would be cool. And I'm dead because I burned my resources.
Yep, that B button's scary. Oh yeah, the double hit. That's right. Okay, yep. Nice punish. I was CCing that because I had nothing else to do at end lag.
You wouldn't expect me to do it a third time, would you?
Oh, so many frames. No.
Ooh. Conscious DI and SDI is something. It's just so basic. It's something I don't do. Like I kind of just watched. Even if there was nothing I could have done there, which I'm sure there was, I just didn't do anything.
Oh, get away from. There. Yeah, it's something that like you have to get into the habit of like you can't just like stop playing the game when you're getting hit.
Yeah.
Which is unique to Smash for the most part.
It's like I have one side of my brain off during the play, and it's when I'm getting comboed.
If it helps, because you're such a small or relatively small character and round, a lot of the times SDI can get you out of stuff that other characters will have a little harder time getting out of.
Yeah. I have this fear that like one part of me playing this character is like a reason that I'm so bad at like this general disadvantage, and just because he's kind of operates in ways that other characters don't, like doesn't get comboed as hard in some situations, and that's why I've been trying to play some other characters just for the sake of learning those mechanics. But,
yeah, I mean, any character's going to make you bad at some things and good at others. No! How are you ready for that?
I don't know.
So what I did just there is actually, I think, a really good example of just like taking... like, I chose to cover your roll to the right because, you know, if you don't roll to the right, I still have center. So it becomes like all other things equal, why not?
That's not real. Oh.
Get out of here.
Oh.
You're too high percent for that to matter.
One thing that's been very helpful too is I'm not naturally analytical, which I think is a huge problem, at least when it comes to this game. Like playing by feel in a way to a detriment, kind of embarrassingly so, where there are things that I should know and just don't. And having people like
Nice.
SSK and Eon just like able to explain things, like fundamental things, is really helpful. Like how to best space cutter. Just like the idea of it just being best used to space behind them at the end of it. That's when it's the most safe. And how that ties into just general pressure. But man, using this move is hard for that, especially on a moving target.
Ah, nice DI.
I am alive?
Yeah, the up air, you can DI the up air very, like, away. I got it. But yeah, I don't think that... So being able to play more by feel, it's different. It's not better or worse. Like, Eon especially, being able to, like, dig into all that stuff is, like, that's great sometimes. But there's also times where I'm sure that makes it harder for her. I know people I knew a dude who could commentate any set. He could tell you exactly what was going on in any set at any given moment. But it became hard for him to, like, actually, like, get back into the game once he started looking at it like, oh yeah, Kirby back air lasts for, like, 8 frames, kind of hard to contest. It's so good on paper, right? Mm-hmm. And in the same way, I think that the opposite problem can exist too, where it's like, it's hard to look at the numbers and be like, okay, how do I contest, DJC Bear if it's only -2 or something, whatever number it ends up being.
Yeah.
But if you can find like a cleaner mix of those two, then it can really help you. Actually, a good example. Yesterday I had a session with Zard Dog, and we were going over a Zard Knuckles and a Zard Ganon set. And Zard is tall. And Knuckles, at best, I looked it up, Knuckles' dare is -6 at best. So when he gets his shield dared from very high, that's something that using numbers we know is a guaranteed shield grab punish. And then using feel to either force that by run-up shielding and messing up spacing, or just in the moment kind of realizing, like, oh, that's too high. Rather than knowing, oh, that's -12 from up there. It's like, it's enough. Who cares?
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Definitely, I just feel like I've been neglecting the one side, to the point where it's like there are some basic things I gotta understand. But,
I mean, that's okay though. You can always learn. And I think that, especially in P+, like, if you want to look into the numbers, that's pretty good for Kirby. Yeah, we're living. You can't take this away from me. You can't take away that SDI from me.
I can, I guess, in the lag.
No, on that forward air, I mean.
Oh.
So much friction. Oh, no. I don't like this.
There was some discourse about like how much in the matchups where Kirby can low profile, how much that actually mattered.
It matters a lot. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Not being able to shield grab this character sucks.
Yeah, no, I used to feel like it wasn't super important, but now I'm like, man, like, especially with characters like Marth, like if I can avoid that, it's just so much less stress on my shoulders.
Especially with the slide attack they gave him.
Yeah.
The two, almost a 2B, the down B. You're right. You're correct. Goodbye. I can't ASDI that down? Damn. Off the top at 72.
This stage is something else.
I think of Wario as Mewtwo's best and worst stage because, like, he can kill you at 5 here, but he also actually dies, which is not fair. Or rather, it is fair, so it's cheating and it should be banned.
Yeah, what the hell?
Let's see.
I don't know what I was trying to accomplish there.
You gotta be kidding me. Just, at least that's on true crouch. It's not just like you happen to be short.
Yeah.
Again, at least it's true crouch, but man, doesn't make me feel that much better. Sad.
That was a really bad idea.
Yeah, I think you're using cutter a little much.
Yeah, I always try to play around with it. It is definitely something I have learned in a very hard way to not abuse. Especially when I play people who have so much experience against me, like S-Tastic, who they see it and they just punish it immediately. Unless it's just a really well-spaced cross-up one, like I attempted to do there and did not do.
Yeah, like there's a time and a place.
Definitely. I also try to like keep that in mind too, and would like to use like a kind of a feint cutter, like a bait, to make it seem like I'm trying to directly interact, and instead just like try to undershoot.
Yeah, especially if you can get that mid land.
Yeah.
That seems good, but it's the inherent risk of like it's a move that gets you out of jumps, and without jumps, Kirby's not great.
Yeah.
Get me out of here! Stop doing this.
Oh, you can taunt during that?
Yeah, it has I call it a yes nay. It's one of his lines from Melee. It says Orokana. It's foolish in Japanese. It's so silly.
That's cool. I wish when Kirby hit his hammer, you could just do his down taunt a little high. That'd be so.
Okay, that'd be great.
Inflicting mental damage.
I'm going to die.
I tried to call out the teleport with that. Almost.
Yeah, just that cutter. Losing all those jumps hurts.
It does. It really does.
I say as a character with the biggest double jump in the game and only a double jump. Man, losing all those jumps seems like a rough time over there.
Quick time event? Okay.
Quick time. Okay, that's what that's called now.
Yeah.
I did it, Ma. Oh, wait, no, I already had one? Okay. It definitely feels like that was the first one. Okay. So I think what I want to kind of focus on in the very tail end here is... Let's go to Battlefield. Your options out of shield when you can't punish something.
Okay.
So debug is... Player 1 infinite shield, player 2 infinite shield. And it still works. Okay, great. So hover cancel fair is plus. This is cheating. We know this. If you do it good, at least. I probably won't be doing it good, which is fine.
Whoa. How plus is it?
If you do it perfectly, it's like +3, but that's not doing the fastest hover cancel. That's just doing like hover into ground next frame. I think dare is... Let's see, dare. Dare you actually can do perfectly without too much issue because it's just timed nicely. Oops. Oops. I say you can do it easily, and then I just don't do it ever because I'm bad. But point being, I think the options when you can't punish are going to be the thing I want to work on. I want you to work on a little bit before next time. Where is Exodus? I keep forgetting.
Exodus?
Yeah, is Exodus Midwest or West Coast or something? Or is it an East Coast thing?
I actually don't know what you mean by Exodus.
Is that not a tournament?
Like a weekly series? Or...
It might. I don't know. Zard mentioned that they're going to Exodus Ness, so I assumed it was at least like a monthly or something. I'll ask them.
Sounds like a Midwest or West thing. There's, if anything, assuming everything goes well with, COVID, I think there's tentative schedule. Well, not tentative. I know both CT and MA, which are reasonable for me to go to, are planning openings around next month or so. So that would be cool. I definitely want to... I think Massachusetts is closer, so I'll probably go to at least that at first.
Gotcha.
That's obviously some stacked competition there, too.
Yeah. In that case, I think probably the thing to work on for that then would just be... Because Massachusetts has... Okay, I'm not even going to expose myself. I don't know who lives where on the East Coast. If it's not Florida, I don't know where anyone is, so...
For reference, their whole PR, qualified for PM Theater. All of
Gotcha.
them, Serb, Dahlia, Twisty, Kumatora, Blarp, and just to name a few. It's a very good region. So that's pretty awesome. And then, of course, there's CT, which was where I was pretty much primarily going for monthlies in 2021.
Gotcha. That's like Kais, Flip. Not Flip anymore, of course, but gotcha. So I think something to work on to help you kind of stabilize and back to neutral would be to try to determine what moves you can and cannot easily get pressure on after you shield them. So the obvious outlier stuff like Mewtwo hover cancel being plus, that's really rare in Smash. For something to be legitimately plus on shield. Especially when I'm playing Mewtwo and I can't do it right. In my defense, I haven't done this in a long time. When you CC it, it's going to be pluser. Pluser. It's going to be pluser as well. That's not even remotely a word.
Even more plus on hit.
Or plus on... It's better on... while you can CC it, it's better on CC than on shield. Which is most things, really. Because at a shield, you have your limited options. So something to work on would be to figure out like when you can and cannot like take an offensive turn back, as it were.
Gotcha.
In the sense of like
when to just disengage.
Yeah. So like if I down tilt you point blank, I'm on the defensive now because you can shield grab punish that. So I have to buffer a spot dodge or some kind of defensive option. Yep, that was a spot dodge. Versus if I do that, your out of shield option either needs to be wait for the down tilt, in this case, or escape the down tilt. Which then obviously has like different, like, oh, instead of the fast thing, they could do the slow thing for pressure.
Yeah.
Which also applies to your stuff. Because like up tilt's hard to get around when it hits that late front hit. Like do the late front hit of up tilt.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'll buffer spot dodge. Like, it becomes legitimately hard. Like, you are still very much on the offensive. Even assuming that I recognize what's happening. Because I can't drop shield CC because it's super strong. If I try my airborne moves, that has a really good hitbox for that. So, like, being able to recognize when you have those kinds of advantages on shield and pressure is really, really useful. Another good example, this is specifically for Mewtwo, of course, as well, but like the same kind of situation where like on paper you might be able to get a punish, but it sometimes isn't worth it. Nair has a 9 frame gap between Nairs. If I do hover Nair, Nair, so shield, you can shield grab it pretty easily, but if I move around a little bit, like you have to either commit to a defensive option or be like very ready.
Yeah, that's tough. I'd probably rather disengage. I can't think of... I know like Kirby's got a 3 frame jump squat and Nair's frame 3. I think that's just me mistiming. I don't know if that's actually enough.
That's definitely enough. Because shield grab is frame 7 universally. You cannot.
Oh.
So that's what makes it hard.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this is an example of one of those moves that like, it's percent dependent. Like if you need to make a 4-stock comeback, sometimes you just like need to go for the hard stuff that gets you the stuff. That gets you the confirms. But if you don't, sometimes it's worth to just like, hey, just disengage. Make it easier. Don't make it real fancy.
Too risky.
Right. Especially that's also very matchup dependent. So like for Mewtwo, playing like slow and steady is almost always in my favor because I'm Mewtwo. I can kill you easier than you can kill me. In some matchups, like the Spacey matchup, for instance, right? Getting that Nair out of shield against Foxy Zero doesn't do anything for you. So it's a lot. It's a yeah. I know I play some characters as well that have that same issue where it's like, how do you launch the Spacey before 50?
Yeah.
So in that matchup, like because the Nair reward is so bad, it's a lot nicer to just disengage. Or if your back's to ledge, it might be higher reward to shield grab because you can just back throw and then Kirby can float, right? Kirby can definitely Nair 8 times per airtime. That was 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, hell yeah.
Technically, yeah.
Hey, you don't got to land it. You just got to press Nair. So being able to like distinguish when you have the advantage with regards to like risk reward is really, really important for shield because shield play in general is very, let me restart this. Shield play in general is very based around numbers, which can make it difficult for field players. Like you were saying, like, yeah, you might know that, you don't have a launcher out of shield against spaces, but knowing that like, this is Falco at 90. If I get hit by Shine, who cares? That can inform your decisions.
Yeah.
It's just easiest to notice for shield because your options are limited, or their options are limited if if the aggressor.
Yeah, it also feels like a different ball game with shield against spacies for me because that's where like, and it kind of plays in with Ness and Lucas where, like, I have the hardest time feeling the most pressure, and so I panic or offer the wrong option. Where disengaging feels like, oh man, not only is it harder for me to decide when, and also like they could just chase my roll. I know that is definitely something to think about. But man, sometimes nothing seems harder than Fox. But.
Yeah. Good news is you can if you just get him off stage, he's an awful character again. It can be a good time. And
yeah, it's really oh, sorry.
And for like as bad as it feels to like roll out and get chased and get punished for it, especially at kill percent, they have to make a decision to catch your roll. They have to decide that you're going to roll right versus left, that you're not going to spot dodge instead, and they have to decide when you're going to roll. So that all plays a factor in like you don't see. I'm sure that you have rolled and they have missed their punishes, and even missed like their follow up pressure. But when you roll and get up smashed to 80 for it and die, you remember that versus remembering like, oh, I rolled out and nothing happened.
Yeah,
that was such a late hit. It's the same thing for them too, though. Like that's the reason why so many spacies, aside from like the numbers of it, why so many spacies hate it when people just do this. Because like, hey, yep, they're reliving a decade of memories of getting back thrown, killed at 3, and all you're doing is just like, hey, look at me. I'm a big fat floaty. My out of shield's so bad grab.
Yeah.
So being able to, if you kind of work backwards from the risk reward on some of these things, it can help you, one, both kind of like realize like, oh, hey, it's not that bad. And also realize that like, they're making a decision and their characters are fast enough to let them do it for sure. But like that person is deciding to chase me with Fox. And when it's a decision and not just a thing about the character, then it becomes a little easier to like handle like, okay, how do I get a human being to make a decision? Which is what you normally do versus kind of getting into that, not that you were, but it can lead to that fatalistic mentality of like, if I roll, Fox can catch me. Like he will catch me. I can't roll. And now you don't have one option.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Adding more things for them to think about for sure.
Yeah.
Instead of putting myself in situations where it's harder to get out of. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's something I should consider.
Something I like to, I kind of look at it this way, right? So like, if all I'm going to do is hold shield, they have one decision to make. Do I grab, or rather, when do I grab? Not even do I grab. But if I hold shield, and I also mix in nairs out of shield, mix in spot dodges, mix in rolls, all at different timings, that, like, they still only get one guess. They have to make a decision. But I've added in a lot of, like, wrong answers by showing that, oh, I'll hold shield, shield grab sometimes. I'll hold shield, spot dodge, down tilt, spot dodge, roll. How do I mess this up? I've never seen anyone else who messes up buffer roll and buffer spot dodge. Like, it's just a physical input. I've gotten... There's a really funny... It's happened in tournaments so much, too. First time I played Sosa, I was trying to spot dodge his pressure after he got, like, landing fair on me. Mm-hmm. So I did, let me buffer spot dodge after I shielded this fair. I don't know what I did wrong mechanically. It looked like I have the biggest brain in the world. I just drop shield, down smash. And he was smarter than me because he was like, oh, I'm going to hit them with a fair on shield, wait a tick, and then spot dodge. And just gets down smash on offense somehow. Like, it looks bizarre.
Amazing. Just play it off. Like, yeah, I meant to do that.
There's like 3 things in that set that, like, I disable his side B at some point because I just panic when I see side B as I'm falling. And it hits his arm that is like 1.5 lengths of his head somehow. He's like holding his arm up. And it's like, oh, okay. Definitely very much on purpose. Yes, crowd. I'm just that good for sure, TM.
Doesn't side B clank a lot of the time, Wario's?
Yes, but this is Transcendent.
Ah, makes sense.
Oh, fun fact. Kirby, this isn't related in any way, so we'll call it after this. Kirby had an infinite on Mewtwo before they changed a copy to be Shadow Ball.
Oh, yeah. Because it was used to be
Disabled.
like footstool disabled.
It was footstool. You didn't have to drift for this one too, which made it like actually reasonable. Mewtwo still has an infinite on Wario that is footstool disable, but you have to either drift or DJ like double jump cancel disable backwards to like get a little lower. Let me actually. I'll check it out later. I'm not gonna waste your time trying to like do a rep of an infinite. It does 1%. But yeah. So I think that's about everything. We went over pressure on offense and then how that same pressure works on defense. We went over kind of like how to handle CC and Ness down tilt specifically. And a little bit of also, you just use cutter less, but cutter is scary. It's one thing if you're already at like 130, but like when you're at 10, that's how you die. You have so many jumps. You have been gifted so many jumps by the Sakurai development team.
I get so spoiled, and then when I fight someone like Mewtwo who can actually contest me off stage, I'm like, oops, I guess I'll die.
Wait, you can't just jump off stage and bear me. That's not fair.
You can't meet me at the blast zone like that. No one can do that.
That's not a lie. Yeah, like I was, again, full circle. We gaslight players of other characters into thinking that their character is privileged and cheating. When our characters can do the same thing. Hell yeah. You up throw? You shouldn't be able to kill me up throw at 66. Guaranteed, for sure.
That's messed up.
That's wild. This is post-nerf. No, that's a combo.
The heck?
How could you do this? Where did all the knockback go?
Nerf the character.
Hold on. We already nerfed F Smash. This is nerfed F Smash. It makes me so sad.
I used to get hit by that move from HM04 like all the time.
I love Tony.
And and I'd always feel so dumb. So, but how much different is it now? Like how much smaller?
The same size. So if this is it's just a little range. This would have hit in 3.6.
Of course.
Only barely, but it would have hit. It has shifted like a half or 2/3 to the right of itself.
What a move.
Yeah, they should buff it. Using Smash as neutral is hype, actually. All right.
Try to make it that.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you go, Sabre, if there's nothing else you want to ask.
I don't think so. I think next time I get around to scheduling one, we could do some VOD review. That'd be pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
And, I've got some Ness sets. I've got some other stuff, and I'll probably take some notes beforehand, and then like bring up the concerns I have, and then we can just see how
perfect
they'll be addressed, especially against Astastic, since he abuses them so hard. So
Hakeem's good.
He's really
good. I've only played him in one set. It was a very fun set. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and end stream. Catch you later, Hectaz. If Eon or Ryan are still here, thanks for hanging out. My voice is going.